episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And this is Season 6, Episode 11.
Or Episode 129 if you're counting.
But, who's ever counting?
Me. It's me every episode.
No one else but you is ever counting. I just need you to know that.
I'm the only other person on this show. Somebody's gotta count.
Do any of you guys count? Do you guys ever count?
They don't have to count. I'm here. That's why I have a job. I count.
Alright, I understand. Well,
I have one job on this ship, and dang it, I'm gonna do it.
Well, thank you very much, as always, to the Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl. You guys make this show and all kinds of other shows happen. I don't suppose any of you saw, perhaps, just this week I released that DDR arcade retrospective.
Finally!
Yeah, you can see why that took so long, because it's a 45-minute video, folks, and it details just about everything. But there's always the people who are like, I think you forgot to talk about this one song, and I'm just like...
Actually, this song actually has 3 different remixes, and you only mentioned one of them.
No, nobody's
being, done that?
No, nobody's
okay.
being a jerk like that. No, nobody really means anything bad. No, what I mean is, they're like, I think you forgot to mention that there was also a licensed Britney Spears song in this game, and I'm like, no, I didn't forget to mention it.
You omitted purposely.
If I mentioned literally every single song in every single mix of Dance Dance Revolution, that would be like a 4-hour video.
Yeah.
And that we are not going to do that.
At that point, you might as well read a wiki article for all that's gonna do. Mm-hmm. Because who wants to listen to you basically read the phone book? I
had somebody suggest to me, actually, that I go through and I, copy the wiki article of the song list and just have it blur by.
I think that kind of stuff is funny, and you know that, so I'm down with that idea.
Well, then maybe I will do that in the upcoming video about the arcade releases and the plug-and-play system releases and stuff like that. That one's coming up, but there's a bunch of other request reviews coming up before that. The next one's gonna be on Haibane Renmei, so I'm kind of excited about that one.
Sad.
Well, it's slow. I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah.
So it's... I tried to watch it years ago, and it was just really, really slow.
It's one of those, I gave it at an anime club, I gave it the first 2 episode watch, and then we watched something else, and then we never brought it up again. Because I think that was one of those... At the time, everybody was like, okay, what do you guys want to keep watching? You want to watch this one, Haibane Renmei? A couple of bit. Scrap Princess? Naruto? So we kept watching Naruto.
And no, I'm sorry, this actually is not an Ariel shirt. This is the opposite of Ariel, because she's got this harness and guns, and she's not even...
It's Ariel with guns.
She's not even a thing. She's a mascot for Anime Fest, and this was probably 2006 or 2007.
That shirt's 10 years old.
Yeah, this shirt is 10 years old, and this character doesn't have a name, as far as I'm aware. But it's the mascot for this particular anime convention in Dallas. So yeah. What else is going on before we get into show things?
It was an interesting week in bringing Japanese culture to America. Let's put it that way.
Wow, this sounds like a very highbrow, very well-cultured conversation we're about to jump right into, Josh.
So, Baby Metal, they were on Colbert.
Well, that was fun for me to watch, actually. It was also fun to see how really Stephen Colbert did 10 times a better job introducing a bizarre Japanese musical act than his predecessor did.
Yeah, because Letterman
introducing Hatsune Miku.
Because Letterman with Miku was painful to watch, and you guys have seen the clip. You know that was terrible, and we were waiting for something like this to come along and watch the taste out of our mouths. And so here it's I don't know what I'm about to watch, but I know I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah,
or it's going to be interesting, whatever he says there.
And then
they
job.
played the hell out of that song. I mean, granted, we're pretty sure they might have been lip-syncing throughout most of it, but
because that's what Japanese pop idols do. They don't actually sing live. They lip-sync all the time, because they're dancing, too.
American stars do it, too. There's no difference.
No, there's really not.
You're putting on a show. But for that, it's cool, because my Twitter feed, my Facebook feed the next morning, as soon as that clip got put on YouTube, just blew up. Baby Metal everywhere. Everybody's all happy about that. But then, the other weird thing is okay, so if you watch professional wrestling,
Which I try not to.
But we do at least once, maybe twice a year. With WrestleMania this weekend, you figure there are going to be things that they call WrestleMania moments, where, it's the stuff that everybody's going to be talking about all for the next, week or so until, you forget about everything. And one of the things I did not expect was for the New Day, this three-man team there in the WWE, to come out of a box of their own cereal, Booty-O's. That part I was fine with that. I expected that. What I didn't expect was for them to pop out of this box in homemade Saiyan armor, and we have a picture. Yeah, that's them right there. All three members of the New Day.
That's a thing that happened, yeah.
Xavier and everybody. That was Saiyan armor, and people who didn't watch wrestling were confused, and people who do watch wrestling were confused, except the anime fans who were like, oh, yeah! Because, last year
I know what Saiyan armor is, but I don't understand why, because I don't watch wrestling, but I'm there for WrestleMania, and so suddenly there's dudes in Saiyan armor, and I know that one of those dudes also plays a trombone and has a YouTube gaming channel. That is legit all I know about these guys, or
and
one
Team
of
4
these
Star
guys.
was in attendance that night.
And Team 4 Star was there. So yay, good for them. That was a thing.
Well, see, this is the way it's looking now, because last year we had Ronda Rousey show up in the over 9,000 shirt.
Mm-hmm.
This year we have the New Day showing up in Saiyan armor. Next year, John Cena has to come out with a wig and he has to be Broly. That's just how it is. We have to advance.
But then that would
every
mean that he
year.
would be a bad guy, and he doesn't want to be a bad guy.
Okay, we'll put on Brock Lesnar. It doesn't make a difference. Same basic build.
Uh-huh.
You can get that point across. But to make the point, it's interesting now. I would have never imagined any of this stuff happening even 10 years ago. And I had been into anime for a while at that point, into Japanese culture. And, you remember the old days when we were still skulking around. I say that like I'm really old, but it wasn't really that long ago. You were refined to that one corner in Suncoast and that one side of Walden Books and your local arcade, and that's where you all hung out when you're out in public. And it's like, hey, you want to talk about the thing? Yeah. And, you're like, oh, they're those weird kids off in the corner. And now it's just out there for everybody to see on national television or pay-per-view. People had to pay money to see that. Well, maybe you didn't if you got the free WWE hookup. But some people paid money to see those guys dressed up like that.
Those people are fools.
Those people are fools.
Yeah.
But still, it's nice to see things getting a little more mainstream.
Okay, well, I'm sure we have plenty of other things to talk about.
I guess, like the show.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the show?
We should probably actually talk
okay,
about
let's
it.
talk
That's
about the
that's
show.
enough about wrestling and anime that happen to be on wrestling, because I cannot actually have that conversation because I don't actually know anything about what I'm talking about. So, let's talk about the things I do know I'm going to be able to talk about. For example... First story of the evening, a little bit later on, is going to be in regards to April Fool's related stuff that popped up all over the internet this April 1st, and some of them were pretty funny, and some other things were kind of not so great. I'm going to touch upon each and every one of those. Well, maybe not each and every one of them.
As many as we can in the time allotted.
Yes.
Yes. And then our second story, is going to be about... I love how I wrote this out here. Blizzard shuts down vanilla soft serve machine.
Which is not entirely how that goes. No,
not entirely inaccurate.
No, Blizzard has shut down a fan-run server for World of Warcraft that featured the original vanilla version of World of Warcraft before they started adding on patches and adding in expansions and stuff like that. And it was a significantly more difficult game back in the day, but now Blizzard's like, nope! We're going to talk about how that went and why they might have done that and all kinds of other related stuff.
Yes. Yeah. And then our third story just dropped this morning, was it 9 o'clock our time here Central. Mm-hmm. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, the first look at it, everybody's going nuts.
Yes.
You thought we were done talking about Star Wars? Well, hell no, mothers, we're back with more Star Wars stuff, because they just keep giving it to us, and a month early from most expectations. That's great. Mm-hmm. I love that. But we're going to talk to you guys about this little bit of footage, what to expect, some fan reactions on the internet. Definitely look out for that.
Sounds good to me.
The third story.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's follow-ups, though, right?
Yes. Follow-ups. Okay, let's get to follow-ups.
Yeah, help me out
All
with
right,
that,
follow-ups.
Josh.
Here we go. All right. It's follow-up, so you know what comes first.
Is it this?
Yeah, it's that.
Okay.
Not quite Justice League. Here we go. Okay, so let's get through the nitty-gritty of it first. So, like we were saying last week on the show, the biggest telltale sign of what this movie was going to do, Batman v Superman, not quite Justice League, however you want to call it, was tracking the second week here, and easily something you can't really push off. WB tried to push it off like, oh, it's nothing, ignore that, that doesn't mean anything. I don't know, when your Friday total drops by 80% down to only 15.4 million, that drop is noticeable.
Okay.
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts. And there's some talk going around, you know, there's some strings being pulled apparently behind the scenes of WB. Not anything we can for sure say. There's one thing we can say, is that Wonder Woman's solo movie has been given the fast track by a couple of weeks. It's been moved up from June 23rd of next year to June 2nd of next year. So
it's really not a huge difference.
She's coming out on top out of all of this. She and Ben Affleck's performance as Batman. Most people don't hate it. They just kind of wish certain things weren't there in his character.
Yeah.
That's easy enough to say. The other interesting thing is that WB has put 2 more DC Cinematic Universe movies on the block. They're not saying what they are yet, just that they will appear on respectively October 5th, 2018 and November 1st, 2019.
Okay.
A lot of people are saying there's a fair chance that that first one, the October 5th date, will be the solo Ben Affleck Batman movie that has been touted for a while over at WB.
Okay.
So that'd be smart. And then the other one, anybody's guess. Zack Snyder, on the other hand, is saying he and Henry Cavill would like to continue making a solo Superman movie, to which I and most of the rest of the internet say, good luck with that.
Yep.
But I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, so moving on to some other DC news. So I have to make a correction here. I had said that this Tuesday, which is 2 days ago, that Justice League vs. Teen Titans would be on Blu-ray and DVD. I got my date wrong. It's next Tuesday.
But somebody's got it right now.
But it is out digitally.
Yes, okay.
It is out digitally. So if you guys want to capture it that way, go over to Amazon or iTunes. It's available there. You can watch it there. Or probably through some other means since it's out digitally. You know,
right.
That just makes it easier for people. But yes, wanted to make sure that correction got out there. In other comic news, let's talk about Marvel over here. So there's a lot of Doctor Strange news coming out. First and foremost, we have this new set picture of him, Benedict Cumberbatch in suit, as well as Chitwell Ejiofor there on set with Kamen Rider Wizard. That is, of course, a manip. You know, this kind of stuff happens. People have thrown in Doctor Who, Heath Ledger, you know, all those running picks. But we do have an actual picture of Benedict Cumberbatch right there as Doctor Strange. As such, this is timely because all next week on Jimmy Kimmel Live, he's pretty much blocked his whole week off to be Marvel time. Every night, Marvel something.
That's awesome.
So his first night next week, he's going to have Team Captain America on the show.
Nice.
So he's got Cap, he's got Falcon, he's got Bucky, and then the next night he's got the premiere, the first look at the Doctor Strange trailer. Then the night after that, he'll have Team Iron Man on. So Robert Downey Jr., Chadwick Boseman, Paul Bettany. And then the night after that, he will have Chris Hemsworth
there
on.
You go, yeah.
See, I learned.
Yeah.
Of course, he's not playing Thor in any of these movies right now, but he is Thor, so that still counts as Marvel. But yeah, he's got that whole week locked down for Marvel stuff. People will have to tune in for that.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty
sounds
sure we get that
exciting,
channel.
actually,
Yeah, that
yeah.
sounds very exciting. Good for Jimmy Kimmel getting the scoop on that. Moving on to some other television news. Oh, actually, there's another interesting bit going back to Civil War there of a Netflix tie-in. So Alfre Woodard, who's an actress who's been cast in Luke Cage, has been put as a cast member for Civil War.
Okay.
Now, she's a councilwoman there in the Luke Cage series on Netflix, but this is the first direct tie back from Netflix to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
been a
you're
one-way
right.
street thus far, but now seeing blatantly, oh, this actress is cast in both
Yeah.
parts. Maybe this is finally the bridge. We're finally
Right.
starting to see the bridge happen. Because as a lot of fans know, the big hope right now is that one, if not all of the Defenders, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist will hopefully end up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe somewhere around Infinity War.
That would be good,
Part
yeah.
1 or 2, and this might be the beginning of that road. So hopefully we have that to look forward to. Also, apparently, Cloak and Dagger got a nice deal out.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me.
Yeah, that was weird too, because I had heard mumbling about that, like, oh, we're gonna do something with Cloak and Dagger. Just what, Marvel saying this, and people weren't really taking that seriously because Cloak and Dagger is not exactly the most top tier. They're kind of like second, third tier in terms of popularity. Well, now apparently they're moving forward with their series, looking to put in a kind of a romantic spin there. But we'll see more about that as it develops. In other television news, we're going to go across the pond over to the BBC, who have now announced their full cast listing for their new Doctor Who spin-off entitled Class. And your main cast here is going to consist of Greg Austin, Fadi El Said, Sophie Hopkins, Vivian Opara, and Catherine Kelly. Now, this all takes place at the Coal Hill School, which goes back all the way to episode 1 of Doctor Who, where
that's the only thing about this thing that I know something about, because I had that OCD thing where I was like, I'm gonna watch Doctor Who from the very beginning because I can't do it any other way because my brain won't let me, so at least I know what that is.
Yeah, and we have a brief synopsis. These 4 students here at the Coal Hill School and their teacher all have hidden secrets and desires. They're facing their own worst fears, navigating a life of friends, parents, school, work, sex, sorrow, and possibly the end of existence.
I don't know if this sounds like the series for me.
I don't know either, because, you compare it to some of the other Doctor Who spin-offs, like K9, Sarah Jane, Torchwood. Some are better than others. Some have really good parts and some get really sucky. Torchwood. Point being, I will give it a chance, because right now we're in kind of a Doctor Who drought, and Whovians need something to hold off.
So when is this starting?
This is starting later this year. They're filming right now. So, more on this as that develops, but we'll definitely have more information now that they've made a full announcement.
Right.
Okay, so moving on to other news here. We got a new TV spot for Independence Day Resurgence.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, that came out earlier.
You didn't tell me that was a thing?
It's a thing. They're coming back, unfortunately.
No.
Now we've got a little bit more information. That we have scenes of what seem to be these aliens. They never actually gave them a proper name. You just have to refer to them as aliens.
Nah, that's alright.
Like you can't call them xenomorphs or whatever. They're just aliens.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe they'll fix that this movie. Point being, we see some of them apparently in some sort of captivity of some kind, and they're making noise. And one of the characters is questioning, why are they screaming? And then Dr. Oakham from the first movie, Brent Spiner, comes out and says, no, they're not yelling. They're celebrating. Apparently talking about the return of this new mothership down onto the Earth. So they know it's coming. And I think if they play that right, that'll seem a lot more creepy to a current modern day audience who, already has seen a lot and knows what to expect. Okay, we've got some Kingdom Hearts developments. You actually were playing some of this. Kingdom Hearts has a new mobile game out now.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts
Unchained.
Unchained. The X actually is Chi. Kingdom Hearts Unchained Chi. This actually, some of you might remember, I played the browser-based version of this game, and I was actually streaming it, and I was playing it off the Japanese servers. There was not yet an English translation at the time. So yeah, I did just download it I just downloaded it, and I went through the tutorial of it. It's almost identical to the old browser-based game, but there are some differences in some mechanics, so I find it kind of interesting in that regard. Tetsuya Nomura has said that this game is the very beginning of everything Kingdom Hearts storyline ever. So if you're like
ever?
I guess. So if you're like OCD-ish, kind of like I am, and you're like, well, I guess I better start at the beginning of the storyline, then you can download this for free right now on your mobile device, Android
or iOS.
And play it for free with, of course, in-game microtransactions as necessary.
Yes.
So, yay, good luck.
Yes. Moving on to some other game news. So, we talked to you guys about Overwatch last week and the controversy behind the character Tracer and her supposedly sexy victory pose. Well, we've got an update.
Which was that,
This was the pose in question. People were saying, oh, it's too sexy, get rid of it. So, Blizzard decided, okay, we will, and we'll replace it with this.
There's still just as much butt.
I don't think it's any different. Like, what's...
If we still get the same amount of butt, but people are happier, then okay. But, like, was it necessary? Was it necessary?
I don't think it was really necessary. Like, I'm baffled here. Like, really? That was... How is that any better, different?
She's cuter now, Josh.
No, that's what everybody's saying.
Cuter
It's
now.
cuter now. I can still see about as much butt. Like, I can't see her other leg completely.
Yeah,
Is
you're
that
hiding more leg. Is that what the problem was?
Is that what we're going for?
Was the problem the leg and not the butt?
But people were saying butt, so it was leg.
So it was leg.
We're just gonna assume it was leg. Whatever, people are happy. Now we've got this.
Okay, whatever.
Let's get over it. Okay, moving on to some other anime news here. Okay, so we were, of course, talking to you guys about the new Ace Attorney anime, and you were posing this question out as to whether or not the localization names were going to be available on Crunchyroll. In fact, they are.
Mm-hmm.
If you right-click on the screen, you can actually choose which subtitles you can use, whether or not you want them to refer to the main character as Phoenix Wright or Ryuichi Naruhodo. You have that choice.
Yeah, so they will either literally translate all the puns, which I think is ridiculous, because it will sound very silly.
A little clunky.
A little clunky. Or you can choose the localization that we have always used in North America for all of the games. And again, you get Phoenix Wright, and they'll eat hamburgers. It'll sound very Americanized, but if you are an Americanized person and you don't understand Japanese cultural things, although I assume that most people watching this show actually know some Japanese cultural things, you have that option. So, which I think is great. I really do.
That means everybody's happy.
Yeah. I think it's a good choice.
Yes. And the last bit we're going to talk to you guys about is, of course, now Kamen Rider Amazons is available on Amazon Prime in Japan. We got a little bit more information about Amazon's new bike, this specifically belonging to Amazon Omega.
But didn't his original bike was the Jungler, right?
Jungler, yes. And this one is called the Jungle Raider, if I'm translating that correctly.
Well, it says it's either Jungle Raider or Jungle Radar.
I'm pretty sure it's Raider. It's a very similar design to the Jungler. The only major difference is in the back. Those little fins you see back there used to be huge, the size of, flags. I think they pretty much were flags. But, another nice callback to the original Amazon series. Of course, episode 1 is out now through Japanese legal and international illegal means. You guys do the math on that, however you want to find it. But that's the last of our follow-ups for tonight. Now we can get into our first story.
Alright, so what was our first one? Was it April Fool's stuff? It's April Fool's stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of those things is right about...
Don't worry, we'll wait.
Here.
So yeah.
So that's one thing. I'm going to leave this image up pretty much the entire time, actually.
Okay,
I think it's a nice spread.
It is a nice spread. So this was one of
I wish this was real. Oh my god.
I so wish this was real, because there was reason to believe this was real.
Mm-hmm.
So this was one of the pranks, one of many pranks this past April Fool's. So Hideaki Anno, who was the creator of Evangelion and the current director of Godzilla Resurgence, or Shin Godzilla, depending on what you want to call it, put out this little teaser picture saying that later this year, in conjunction with the release of this new movie, that there would be a crossover event between Evangelion and Godzilla, and Eva-Zero-One would fight old Big Green himself.
And, oh my god, this art is amazing.
I want that, on the wall right here over the couch.
Yeah.
I would want that as a mural.
They were selling t-shirts?
Supposedly.
They were fake selling fake t-shirts. Man, that would have been a fantastic promotion.
What was cool about it was these t-shirts and these keychains were a combination, the Nerf Leaf logo. Part of it was the leaf, and on the bottom half was Godzilla's back spines.
Yes.
And then usually on the Nerve logo, there's this quote that says, "God's in his heaven, all's right with the world." For this crossover event, they were saying it's Godzilla's on Earth, all's wrong with the world.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many people I know want that stuff to be real.
Uh-huh.
Because it's awesome, and it would have been amazing.
Would have been, if only.
Kaiju action.
Well, I do want to talk about, man, there's just a huge list of things that were really good April Fool's jokes. Blizzard does amazing April Fool's jokes every year. Tons and tons. One of my favorite April Fool's jokes they did, do you know what Hearthstone is?
I'm aware. I don't play, but I'm aware.
Yeah, it's their kind of digital card game that's based on World of Warcraft. It has World of Warcraft characters and monsters. It's a card game, but it's digital. You play it either on your PC or on your mobile device, one of the two. But now they have this fake trailer for this fake game called Hearthstone, the MMO, which is funny because they're like, we're gonna make this card game and all your favorite characters from the card game, and we're gonna put them in an MMO, which is what World of Warcraft
already is.
So
see,
that's
that joke hits me like I don't laugh really hard, but I'm like, I understand.
I understand where that's coming from. But another one of the awesome ones that came out of Blizzard's Korean side of Battle.net. Admittedly, this kind of feeds into what one of our later stories is going to be. Korean Blizzard.net said that they were going to introduce vanilla World of Warcraft servers with original races and the original long login queues. Like, you had to wait there for like half an hour to an hour and a half just to get on the server to play this massive experience. Oh, I like that.
I'm sure Koreans with no sense of humor loved that.
I'm sure the Koreans have a sense of humor.
Well, I'm saying the ones that don't. That's why I prefaced that.
I would have really loved to have played this vanilla. But that'll be for later. That'll be for later. I like this one where Asus pretended that they were making a little virtual reality kit for cats called the Meow VR. As you can see here, Josh, this cat is seeing an image of just how awesome it must feel to be brushed by 4 different hands at the same time with little cat hair brushes. Asus need to get on that. You got stuff like Dark Souls 3, which is actually about to come out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. They're bragging about it coming out on VHS, and they had this amazing real but fake late 80s and early 90s looking action trailer to go along with it.
Yes.
That was a good one. We've got Nvidia making a fake energy drink to...
See, I would have believed that.
That's almost
with as many
believable.
goofy energy drinks aimed at gamers there are out there, I believed that. I would have believed that one.
Yeah, and it was almost a believable enough commercial. It was well enough produced that I would have almost believed it had they released it any other day of the year. Any other day of the year.
Then this was one of your favorites right here.
God, YouTube with Snoopovision with Snoop Dogg, so you can watch your YouTube videos, 1, in 360 degrees.
That's already cool.
And 2, with Snoop Dogg there in the picture, the 360 degree picture, for some weird reason. And he was able to code up. On April 1st, on YouTube, there was this little Snoopovision button that appeared on every single YouTube video, and you could click it, but all it would do is lead you to this video talking about Snoopovision. So, Chocogo was...
That was another one of your favorites.
Yeah, this one was promoted by Final Fantasy 14. This website's saying Final Fantasy 15, but it was promoted more by 14, where really the idea is more like Uber.
Yes,
but,
or
Lyft, but instead of Lyft,
cars.
It's cars. These are chocobos that you sign in on your mobile device and you summon a chocobo to come out. You never actually see the chocobo arriving to the person on screen, though. I thought that was the one thing that just barely didn't sell the joke for me.
Like if somebody had bothered to render a chocobo, you'd feel better about it.
Yeah, I think so. This one I think you'll enjoy. Razer, as in the same company that makes, all of these different PC gaming related equipment, mice, keyboards, headphones, what have you, they introduced the idea of the Razer toaster that they were hoping to crowdfund, and this toaster
is amazing.
Puts the Razer logo on your bread. It has some kind of chroma butter so that you can have multicolored buttered toast.
You can plug your phone into it and charge it. You can hook it up to your computer so you can activate you can have a hotkey saying, hey, make me toast, and then it'll pop up a little window like, hey, your toast is ready. I want that toaster. I've already ordered 6.
Don't you start.
All right, with the 8 toasters.
No, we already have a toaster and we don't even use that toaster.
Okay, fine, 10 toasters.
No, stop adding on toasters.
24 toasters.
Okay, we're moving.
All right, let's move on.
Really, those were some of the most fun April Fool's jokes there were, but there were some that there's a pretty good one, and I think it's the people that heard it that really screwed up, because people are dumb and they don't check what day it is. So I don't know very much about Counter-Strike, but a thing happened with Counter-Strike, and it wasn't even in-game, and it wasn't by the Counter-Strike people. This was by a popular YouTuber who goes by the name of McSkillet. I guess he's relatively popular, especially within Counter-Strike. So he made a pretty well-edited video that looked like Counter-Strike had just implemented this upgrade. So in Counter-Strike, you are able to spend real-world money in order to buy drops of really spectacular equipment, new weapons and stuff. Yeah, good loot, really, essentially. Like, I'm really kind of dumbing it down here, especially because I don't play Counter-Strike. So basically what he says in this video is that, yeah, they implemented this update where you can buy, like, 10 really crappy items, and then you combine them to upgrade to what could potentially be a really awesome item. And he shows that he spent maybe 20 real-world dollars on really crappy guns, and then combined them and upgraded them, and got a gun that's worth, like, literally $150 in the game. And it's a gun that he actually has, and he just edited it really well to
into
make
the video.
Into the video to make it look like, oh my god, guys, I just got this thing, this is gonna change everything. And the problem is, people didn't watch all the way to the end of the video to hear him say, haha, April Fools. And so that ruined Counter-Strike's actual economy, because people watched this video and then they started buying the crap out of all these really crappy...
They started buying the crap out of the crap.
Yeah, out of all these really crappy weapons, and they're pissed because they're not gonna get anything for it. Although it might now, like, completely rebalance how much these weapons are actually worth within the game. Like, this guy inadvertently ruined everything, but there are people who are like, no, he did this on purpose. He absolutely did. It's a joke and you guys didn't pay attention. What is wrong with you? That's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I think it's funny.
I think it's really funny, especially because I don't play Counter-Strike.
Yeah. Now, this Gmail prank, this one's probably our loser for the year, because, you know, they put this into play. One, just as a personal preference here, when you think you're going to really impress people with minions, stop there. Because you've already screwed up.
Yeah, so the joke with Gmail, Google, of course, owning Gmail, was that they have this animated GIF of a minion from, I suppose this is the Minions movie.
Yes, from Minions.
And he's doing a mic drop, and then he turns around and he walks away. And there were two buttons put into your Gmail account when you're composing an email, right? One of them is the send button to send your email like normal, but directly next to it is only a slightly different looking send button that says send plus mic drop. So it'll just instantaneously tag your email with this mic dropping minion. But it was too close to these two buttons. They didn't tell anybody they were going to implement it, and people sent, like, the wrong intended message several times. For example, one person tweets an example of an email where they're trying to
make funeral arrangements for someone's daughter.
And they accidentally sent this minion mic drop animated GIF along with it, and that's just like, oh my god, that is the wrong intended message.
Yeah.
Holy crap, I am so sorry. That, and apparently it was not implemented very well. It was a little bit glitchy. Apparently it was still possible to just click the regular send button and still end up with that animated GIF showing up in the inbox.
So you couldn't get away from it.
It depended. Like, if you had already opened a new compose window, if you had if you had pressed the send and mic drop button with no recipients and you saw a message, then it would do it when you actually got it right. If you edited the message by adding message recipients, and
then you tried to do it regularly, it would have added it on there.
Yeah, it would have just glitched out and done it anyway, so you were kind of screwed. So even when you didn't intend to send it, you might have accidentally sent it and sent the entirely wrong tone with your email. about this mic drop, and so people's lives were hurt.
Yes.
And Google apologized profusely, which, good. They should have.
You should, because shame on you for using Minions in the first place. The email, there's no way you can tell what kind of email somebody's sending. I'm just saying shame on you for using Minions.
So that's really, that's a whole bunch of April Fool's stuff right there. Man, we could go on and on. I know some people in the chat were bringing up some other really, really good ones that we did not get to mention. We can certainly talk about that in the post-show, but we probably should
move on to our second story.
Go into the second story. So this, in its own bizarre way, ties into one of those April Fool's jokes inadvertently.
Inadvertently, yes.
So Blizzard, as of yesterday, has sent out these cease and desist shutdowns on these fan-hosted servers. This is both the US and the French branches of Blizzard, who have shut down a group of fans who were running a server for the classic vanilla version of World of Warcraft, which actually was something that for years I was actually really, really interested in, because here's the thing about not just World of Warcraft, but really any MMO. You've played MMOs with me.
A few, yes.
You've played Star Wars The Old Republic with me,
I played Star Wars The Old Republic, I played 14.
Yeah.
I tried to play World of Warcraft. I just couldn't get into it.
But 14, for example, completely and utterly different beast from what it once was. It's an entirely different game. Star Wars The Old Republic, when you were last playing with me, it was a much more difficult game, and they have since nerfed it, and it's so much easier now, and you don't even know. It's so much easier to play. And World of Warcraft is incredibly similar. Like, every update, it gets nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and really dumbed down. So, these fans had set up this server so that you could play the game the way it looked like the first year, with some of the fewest patches. It was version 1.12. This was before the very first expansion of Burning Crusade came out. And that's its own charm in its own weird sort of way. It had uglier graphics at the time, but it was a more difficult game, and it's what got tons of people into playing this now, like, millions and millions of fan-based playing game that is now coming out with a movie later this year. So now these servers are getting shut down, and they have to be shut down by April 10th. And I don't believe they've completely turned off the servers just yet, but they are in the process of wrapping it up. And it's just kind of unfortunate, because really what some of these people seem to want are to have Blizzard more officially give them the option of playing an older version of the game that plays differently,
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the nature of an MMO. Like, it can change every single day, or one day it might just up and disappear. Like, what was the, Star Wars Galaxies, Star Wars Galaxies was once one kind of MMO, then there was an update that completely and utterly changed it, everybody was pissed about it, and then one day Star Wars Galaxies just plain didn't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's just the nature of an MMO, and it's very, very sad. Same with, a lot of the Star Ocean? No, not Star Ocean games. What am I thinking of? It's an MMO that Deuce really... Phantasy Star Online. Older Phantasy Star Online games that, now no longer have servers for them. And it's just very, very sad.
Message for you, sir.
Hi, email. I did not mean to click that.
Wait, do we
I'm
have
sorry.
a different picture for this?
Yeah, I do need to get a different picture, in fact. I'm sorry. That was my goof. Right about there's what World of Warcraft should look like.
What? Okay.
It's just World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it's just orcs and dragons.
There's no orcs there.
See, that's how you know I don't play. But no, I see the appeal there of wanting to play the OG version, because you think about it, some people prefer the challenge. Mm-hmm. Some people prefer the nostalgia. Some people prefer, like you say, having the thing that got me into this in the first place. Because if it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't have the appreciation, or even the hate, I should say, for what it is now. So I think in a lot of cases people prefer having certain things there, but I can also see from the standpoint of the creators, of the developers, like, to them they might view that as, oh, well, we don't want to let you guys have that. This is an imperfect product. We wanted you to have more what we had in mind in our minds. And at a certain point, kind of relating to a later story, it almost becomes the Lucas argument.
Uh-huh.
Where, oh, the original version isn't what I wanted you to have. I wanted you to have the better version with the stuff now, and here you go. And don't worry about the original thing. I tried to destroy it.
Well, I think it's less that and more like that vanilla server has been up for years. There's oh god, how many does it say the article? Does the article say that there were 150,000 active players? There were 800,000 registered users total over all of this time. This has been going on for a while, and there's no way that Blizzard didn't already know about it. My guess is that World of Warcraft is about to get more popular again because
the movie coming
the
out.
Warcraft movie is about to come out, and they don't want people to be able to play any version of Warcraft, World of Warcraft, for free. They want to get their money.
Mm-hmm.
That is my assumption.
And the thing about it is they're well within their right.
Oh, they are. They absolutely are. But I think they would make bank if they also gave an option for vanilla World of Warcraft.
See, what would be cool, though, is if...
like hard mode, you know?
If they want to do... repackage it for the release and tell people, hey, guess what? It's, go the soft drink route. You guys like World of Warcraft? Well, here's World of Warcraft Classic.
Yeah.
And you guys get the option to play that if you want. And then see how many people go out and repurchase or do whatever to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that'll show you, oh, okay, we'll still make our money on the back end. We already made it. That shouldn't be hard.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, even if they take down these servers, what's to say they won't just pop up somewhere else and then just called it, like, World of Warcraft. It's the same game. They just changed a letter here.
Yeah.
Just to let you get away with something. Like, you guys totally know what this is. Come play over here.
Exactly. So, and actually, that's part of what the article here on Kotaku does, in fact, say. Their plan, this particular group of people who were hosting the server, their plan is to, in fact, release all of the coding they had done to host this server out to anyone who might want it. They're not gonna host it anymore, but here you go.
Here you go. They do all this coding. Okay, we gotta keep this. Give vanilla. Here you go. And now everybody, like, it's kind of that weird thing where, how do I describe it? Like, it's a heist movie, and it's like, hey, give me that case full of money, and you're holding it out the window, like, this isn't your money anymore, and then, dump it out on the crowd.
Yeah.
And then everybody has it, and then it's pandemonium, but I don't think it'll be that bad. I mean, I think it would be smart in that sense, because, admittedly, if they let the code go out to anybody and everybody, then they can't necessarily track down anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
They'll be like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Crap, they got away. I mean, they'll punish these main guys, the Nostalrius team, but... for anybody else doing it, they would have to really keep vigilant on that. And maybe it's their own dang faults for doing it.
What, Blizzard or this particular group?
No, Blizzard, because, granted, like I said, they are well within their rights to do that. Legally, they have the right to tell them,
of course.
Shut this down, this is our product. But at the same time, like, were they really, on a financial level, losing so much that they felt they needed to do this to have these guys respond with, oh, you want us to stop this? Here's for everybody. Oops, it slipped. And then there it goes out into the open. Like, oh, I had it, and then, I mean, that just seems really dumb to me from a business standpoint. Like, did you really underestimate people on the internet that much?
Yeah.
Do you not know who is playing your game?
Exactly.
That's really where I'm coming from with that.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to talk about Rogue One.
Oh, you want to talk about Rogue One?
I really just want to talk about
Okay, let's go. You know what? Let's do it. Let's bring it up. Okay, so here we are. Rogue One, a Star Wars story coming out December of this year. Our first taste of this right here. You're looking at our latest protagonist, Jyn Erso. She has been tasked by, of all people, Mon Mothma. I mean,
heck yeah!
First off, like, I love the post going around today, like, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney, totally won Throwback Thursday today.
Man, she looks great.
She looks almost
perfect.
exactly like the original Mon Mothma actress.
Seriously.
I was like, did they enhance digitally? No, they just got another lookalike. I'm like, snap.
Yeah.
But of course, this is our first taste of this story, which takes place just before Episode 4. This is the story of the rebellion, the resistance, however you want to call them, finally deciding, you know what, the Death Star is almost completed, we gotta find a way to take this thing down before it takes us down. You, Jin, we want you to go out there and find the plans for this thing. We gotta find a way to destroy it. We gotta find a way to take this thing down. And of course, this would lead into the events that start off Episode 4, A New Hope.
And see, this is something that I always kind of wanted, and there were some books like it, but it, of course, never made it to movies, and it was about, normal people in their normal struggles trying to fight the Empire, not the super-powered Jedi versus Sith story, which I love. I'm never gonna not love those stories of this one particular family that kind of ruined the entire galaxy, but at the same time, man, the just normal lives of normal people doing extraordinary things, I think is equally fascinating when you realize they live in the same universe as something as expansive as the Force.
Yes, and it's the other thing about it, like, you heard me, I was just having this conversation with my brother right before we came on air, and it's this weird sort of viewpoint of looking at this movie versus, say, The Force Awakens, where, of course, The Force Awakens does massive numbers.
Yeah.
Most people love it, but there's still that, small outcry of people saying, it wasn't exactly what we wanted, because, following logic here. Lucasfilm puts out the prequels.
Yeah.
And people complain about the prequels, like, oh, there's bad writing, or it's not enough like the originals. And then Abrams comes along and makes The Force Awakens, and people are
like the originals, and people are like, why did you make it like the originals?
Not like that, that's not what we meant! And then, here comes this movie, Rogue One, and people are like, no, this is what we meant, this is what we meant! Because admittedly, yeah, this is the old costumes, these are original Stormtrooper designs on the armor. This is the Yavin base.
Yes.
The Yavin Rebel base. These are going to be old style X-Wings. We're going to see here it's the original Death Star. This is more what people saw in their minds as being the next Star Wars. We just want more of that. More in that universe. And I think this is absolutely delivering on that.
I agree.
Within 2 minutes, they deliver on that.
And this was news that, we knew that really the main character is probably going to be this woman for a long time.
Played by Felicity Jones, yes.
But at the same time, to really see it, it's like, we get another female lead. That's pretty cool to me.
And, of course, the outcry comes from some fans, like, how come there's all these female leads now? And then, to which a lot of people are having to say, dude, the next standalone movie is literally about Han Solo.
Yeah.
Like, calm down. Like, we can let people
calm
have
your
this.
Nuts.
Yeah, calm your boffins. And then the people there too, or whatever you want to call them, your Jabbas. I don't know. Point being, your BB-8s. That makes more sense. Point being, with this movie, like you were saying, it's nice to see normal people fighting the rebellion, because even with Rebels, while that's still kind of in the same time period, showing the battle against the Empire, I think it's going to be more interesting and more engaging for people to see when the main character isn't a Jedi, is not, an alien or a Mandalorian bounty hunter. No, these are people.
Yeah.
These are just regular people who have the blaster at their side and a mission, and that's all they've got.
Yeah.
And they have to get this done. And that, I think, is going to be really compelling for people to see how they get that done. How they even manage to get on the Death Star to begin with. Because it seems like there at the end of this trailer, you see Jin in what looks like a storm...
The Imperial black...
Well, no, like a TIE Fighter suit.
Almost a TIE Fighter suit, yeah.
And again, I guess to bring that up, let's talk about these new shots of the Empire here. The Empire is holding it down. You've got at least 4 AT-AT walkers there. You've got these new-looking stormtroopers. I believe they're called Death Troopers, if the reports are correct there. We've got this hooded figure there, bowing before some sort of a glowing pillar of light.
Which may or may not be the Emperor, because that's how the Emperor has communicated in the older films before.
Or may or may not be even Darth Vader, because there's still the rumors that persist that Darth Vader has quite the presence in this movie. A little more mean and menacing, not too dissimilar from what they're doing on Rebels. And then, of course, we've got this other character over here in the long white flowing cape. Who is apparently, he's from the Empire, but we have no idea what he's doing. He just looks commanding and badass.
I think it's interesting that, we still have old classic ships and mechanical things that we're familiar with, same old stormtroopers, and yet we continue to get introduced to new awesome looking uniforms that we've never seen before. We never knew until now they existed. I just think it's kind of fascinating to think you were always there.
Or maybe they tried them out and it didn't work.
That could be,
it's entirely possible. The Empire rolled out with certain kinds of armor, certain kinds of weapons, things of that nature, and then they try it out and it's like, we don't like it. Go back to this other blaster or this other type of ship. And we see other similar types of ships get blown up, throughout this trailer here. But going back to the standpoint they're taking this from, it's nice that this line Jyn has there, like, what are you gonna do? And she says, "This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel." And it's like, I am here for this. I want to see her rebel.
Yeah.
She's in rebellion, and I want to see... Then you got Donnie Yen there.
That
Freaking
looks
Donnie
amazing.
Yen using his awesome hella martial arts skill. I want more of that.
Yeah, I really want it to be like actual martial arts and not force martial arts.
Yeah, because I forget the name of the actors. They had these guys from the Raid Redemption in The Force Awakens there. They were part of Ganja Club there in when they were facing off against Han Solo.
Right.
And I'm there watching, that's the dude from the Raid. Oh, he's gonna do something sick!
And then he kind of didn't.
And then he got eaten by
That was a disappointing part of The Force Awakens, I will admit.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I wanted to see him do something.
It was kind of a waste of his talents.
Do some kickflips or something, yeah.
Waste of his talents.
Whereas here, it's like, no, they're not that stupid. If Donnie Yen's one of the main characters here, they're gonna make him do the things he can do.
Yes.
And then, of course, you also see Forrest Whitaker there as an old, weathered, I should say, soldier of some kind. We don't know where... And see, that's the thing. There's so much mystery around this, but because of the way they handle The Force Awakens, I trust the mystery now. And that's the beautiful thing. All you other studios, Fox, WB,
it's
get
so
on
funny.
that.
It's so funny because we know what happened before this, and we know what's going to happen after this, but at the same time, we kind of don't, because we don't know these people.
Exactly.
We don't know who these people are. They're not related to anybody that is in the other main films. They're just people. So despite the fact that I know that, the plans are going to get to probably Mon Mothma.
To Leia, really.
Or to Leia specifically. Because, they don't get all the way to Mon Mothma. They don't get all the way to the Yavin base until the end of Episode 4. So somehow we have to get from point A, go get the plans, to point B, Leia gets the plans. How did she get them? Do these people come out of it okay? We don't know.
Well, see, there's the whole story that ties into it. Kind of the same thing with Rebels, that if we don't know these people's names, odds are they're dead.
Yeah.
There's that kind of a time travel-esque thing. Like, if we don't hear about this later on down the road, then either somebody omitted it or nobody lived to tell the tale.
I mean, it's entirely possible that these people are so small name that they choose to finish this job and then be like, well, I'm not doing that again, and then they go and live a quiet life, and then you never hear from them.
Or it could be like the whole selfless thing, like, I know I either have to, put these plans over here, or I can try and save myself. Nah, screw it, let the droid take them or something, and let myself get shot for the sake of the greater cause here. Either of which is fine. It's cool. It's that little bit of mystery. It's the fact that we're focusing on this little tiny space of time. Because really, how long is this movie going to take? Over the course of the movie, like how much time passes?
Yeah.
Is it days? Is it months? Is it hours? How quickly did they get this off the ground to launch this plan to get the plans to the Death Star? Does somebody on the inside leak them? There's rumors of that as well. And then right here, you'll see in a second, this guy right here with the mustache, some people, again, not confirmed, just conjecture across the internet, people are saying, is that Biggs? Are we getting a new actor playing Biggs now?
I don't know.
Because we don't know, again, we don't know exactly how close this is to the events of Episode 4. We don't know exactly how close this is to any episodic Rebels stuff that happens. But still, we know at least the Death Star is looking, 90% complete, if not more?
Yeah, they're starting to go and kind of putting the last pieces of it together like it's a Puzz 3D.
Well, maybe they just did that. They went to Barnes & Nobles and bought the plans and then just blew them up big. And it's like, okay, put tab A in. Good. and that's just how they did it. That's how the Empire did it. The Emperor just ordered stuff in mass from Barnes & Nobles.
You can see why there's a ginormous flaw with it then. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably it. You know, they probably found the Emperor's box because he didn't throw away the box. I like to collect them. And then they found the box, and then they pulled out the instructions, like, oh, here it is. And then they started running down the hall with it. Maybe it's that easy. It's probably not that easy, otherwise there wouldn't be a movie here. But still, it's great seeing all of this stuff. Great seeing the hype. As soon as those tickets are available, I am on that mess.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, again, going to the timing of this, it's a month out, give or take, because this is the 7th today.
Mm-hmm.
My best guess, and a lot of other people's best guess, was they weren't going to drop this until May the 4th.
Yeah.
Because, you know, May the 4th, of course, being unofficially or officially Star Wars Day, you know, May the 4th be with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then that weekend, Disney opening up with Civil War, obviously there was going to be something attached to that if they had done it. It almost seemed too easy, especially since the 4th is right before the early showings on the 5th, and then Civil War opens on the 6th. So that times out too well, which is making me think, I don't think they're going, I don't think I'm getting too far ahead of myself here, but if they're giving us this a month early, what are they going to do on May the 4th?
Seriously, yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you already gave us the first look. That means you have more. Oh,
Either
man.
it's more Rogue One, or they're going to show us something they've been working on for Episode 8.
That is entirely possible. They've been filming...
Not necessarily an actual trailer, but, like, a shot of something.
Yeah, because, of course, we've seen updates from Daisy Ridley, from John Boyega, from Mark Hamill, and sparse pieces like, oh, I'm filming at night right now, or, oh, we're working on choreography, or, oh, I'm training for the scene. And, you know, you're hearing all that. We saw Adam Driver over on Colbert, and of course he's still got his Kylo Ren haircut. And it's like all of this beautiful Star Wars information just out there, and I don't mind them taking their time with it.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful part of it. They've worked so well, especially from the last 2 years going into The Force Awakens, now going into Rogue One, and then eventually to Episode 8, that they've been so... I guess I can say kind to their fan base, that they've developed this nice camaraderie with them. Like, you guys trust us, right? We're going to give you the information. Don't come running for it too much. We're going to give you plenty. And a lot of the fans are like, yeah, go ahead. No, we'll wait. We're cool. Man, I can't wait to see what you show me. Whereas with other stuff, it's like, tell me everything now. I will send in my robot drone with a camera, and I will spoil everything if you don't tell me everything. But I don't see any of that with this.
No, we're just excited. That's all
Yeah, we're
there is
just
to
excited. And it gets back to the purity, I think, of what people felt back in the 70s when they couldn't get everything all at once. You know, you just found out there's this movie coming out and it happens in space somewhere, and there's going to be some messed up stuff happening, but you got to go see it when it comes out.
Right.
And I love it. Like, I haven't even seen this thing, and I love it already.
It's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, so absolutely looking forward to Rogue One, a Star Wars story, coming out this December. Get with it. You know you want it.
Yes.
Don't even lie. Don't even lie.
And that's pretty much where we're going to have to stop. We could totally talk more about it, I'm sure, if you felt like sticking with us through our Q&A session, which is going to be happening in about 1 minute here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for this past hour. You guys really appreciate it. If you are not watching with us live right now, you really should be. I wish you would come down here and be with us. We're live every Thursday at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. So come on down here. You get to hang out with these cool people who are sitting over here and chat somewhere. They're good people, and they're very talkative, and they would like to see you because I like seeing them, and they like seeing one another. They talk to each other. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
People meet here. It's great.
Yeah.
But of course, during the week, you can always talk to us over on social media. Over on Twitter, I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at Mars Girl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We will see you guys again next week.
Good night.